decision making. So it's good to just look him how old Manya had to do. They did just to come with these ideas. They actually did experiments, not experiments in the lab. They did what's the word I'm looking for? Group. Only working test lol man. Groups of people within institutions or within the hospitals. But with schools, with adolescents, they have to find that. But Erickson, he came from a Jewish Danish mother, and he didn't have a father. He didn't know his father. So I guess a lot of his influence with this identity and role confusion was part of that, because he never knew his father. And using his own position as, what's my role? Am I the father of the household? I never knew my father. He never did. So he brought a lot of his own personal walkabout, which influenced his own thinking. So then I have the question there that why are we using theories? Because they are important to understand. Theories helps us see how children and adolescents change physically, emotionally, socially, morally, and spiritually. Guiding care and education, parents, teachers, and church leaders can use these insights to provide the right support at the right. Because sometimes you give him Singapore or Pikini Mnogatitiet topic second. So there has to be a right kind of talking down. You can't give an adult instruction or knowledge law beginning yet and no disla. We run ahead from the stage where kids should be talk law right, think law help him all. So this is the stage one. So stage this preventing and addressing problems. When you're familiar with all the different theories, different development stages, then you know, oh, the light will go off. Okay, there's a crisis. How old is this kid? Okay, who is looking after him? Then you look. Whether you look or it's already in your head if you've been trained in that area. So preventing and addressing problems. Theories help at knowing normal development helps us recognize when someone is wrong. The behavior. And how there's carers for our children. And it was funny because I was just listening to a YouTube video from one by Mary Lole Mkorosteret. I think I want to teacher here. Now you see a lot of videos posted from BNG. And she must have been a teacher, but them cross little teachers here. And I'm thinking, nah. Because she said, parents only work on the time. Now, the kids are with the teachers for the whole day. It's the teacher's job to train. We're now ethical and moral value will be anyway. If she was in my discussion in that, if I was as an age, Susa, I'm no all teachers here. Mom and dads, the training, the education starts from the home. You're looking for moral and ethical values in kids. Home should be the base, and then what will you go out with that culture has been nurtured. They'll go with that. But we blame teachers for a lot of stuff. But no what? We as parents have a big job to do too. I guess for me, I thank God for those years where I homeschooled my girls from Africa to UK to Europe to PNG to here, wherever we travel, we school them all. But then you sort of protect them in a way, but when you're in a big school, what I was saying is what the girls did from that, because we always have our prayer that has sort of paved the way for them. Decisions that any kids make, only make him low on him, yardstick you make him all same, they'll assess every decision low on him, you place him low. Because if they've grown up with their value and principles, anything that they come across, they'll judge that according to what you've placed before them, how you've trained them. So shaping faith and morality, looking at the Fowler's developmental theories show us how children think about God, morality, and identity, and helping us guide them in biblical truth. And practical ministry application is, as future pastors or counselors, understanding development equips you to communicate the gospel effectively, disciple young people, and provide pastoral care. Theories of child and adolescent development gives us a map of human growth that helps parents, teachers, and church leaders, mamas, nurture children towards maturity in Christ. And I've put some, I didn't put the heading, but it's with these are all the main theories that we're looking at. Sigmund Eriksson's Piaget, Goldberg, James Fowler, the faith guy, and I just said the two down, Edmund and Robert. They're the more adolescents thinkers too, so I've had them in, but the five on the top, Sigmund and Eriksson, Piaget and Goldberg and Fowler, they're in child development also. So that's something that you can print out or whatever, and I've put a lot of these tables in for the different stages, different theories too. So you can see the different main theories, adolescence focus, the different stages, the key contributing factor, Logan Emily Wokim, like this guy at the bottom, Robert, developmental tasks theory. And his task is achieving new relations with peers, emotional independence, that not some are really still tagging into their parents, and some can't move out of their parents' house even when they're 20, 30. Emotional dependency of their parents. Preparing for career, values and identity. So you can look at the different ways there. Six Erickson's introduce psychosocial. You're looking at the psychological and the social aspect of any crisis, identity formation as central adolescent tasks. So that's where why his theory is used globally actually in education. So that's something for you to also, it's good. So then we look at Freud's psychosexual theory. And this is where, when I said, because when I started doing psychology, I said, this guy, on him kind of mania, coming from that culture, from where we don't talk about this kind of stuff. And I said, but no, this is where you have to be open learners, and you see through stuff and what falls through your bilum into love. This big blood dish blow you am good. So that's his. So I put everyone else to see, but I took them all out. But I left Freud. He's a Jewish. A lot of these guys are Jewish. And Roland was laughing the other day. Hey, you do know that most of these guys are Jewish? I said, yeah. Also, I have a line here, man. So he was a Jewish. He was trained as a neurologist. But he's the father of psychoanalysis. And then you will see a lot of, from Freud to the others, they learned from the others and will go through that. Other theories influence them to create their own. So that's Sigmund. So his contribution is, he talks a lot about the unconscious mind. Consciousness, when you are conscious, you know what's what. But when you're unconscious, it's buried. A lot of traumas and stuff are locked away in our subconscious. We're not aware of it. That much he proposed that much of human behavior is driven by unconscious desires. Sometimes I think, why am I doing that? Because you're not conscious of it. Something that you've picked up or reacted to way back. Yeah. So the psychosexual stages, he suggested that personality development through childhood stages, and he named them there, that you came there through all those different stages. And we'll go through his stages a bit later on. And a dream interpretation. The dreams reveal unconscious wishes. So I've been in sessions where we did that. I wouldn't go there. Now they're banning that. We did it with a young girl. And it's actually amazing what, without being conscious of that, things come out which, after you do certain things and they come out again. Do you know what happens? No. And I've been in a different therapy within an indigenous framework here. And my colleague said, oh, Tandy, you have to come and see this on. But I'm sitting from the Christian platform, thinking, you're always coming with your matagalas to screen out stuff. Do I feel comfortable with this? And she said, you should try. I said, no, I'm just here to observe. Because why? You just don't know what kind of spirit is associated with it. That's just my own. Not going into stuff like that. But some of the results too are impressive. Where people don't know that certain things had happened, you take them into that space where it's locked away. And a lot of healing has come out through it. So my friend had cancer and it went back to something that happened. She went back, there was no trace of cancer. And you say, I will bless only God is like something too. You know, sorry. But I've witnessed that in putting people, that's not dreams, that's hypnotizing people. What I was in with another counselor. So his main thing is the unconscious need to be untapped. So people to move on, to get free, to be healed, delivered. Because he reckons it's trapped in there that needs to unlock in different ways of doing that. So they actually have a bed. He talks to them. It's almost like hypnotizing people, but it's that kind of thing. And I know Roland's mom went through a lot of that. Trying to find answers why she was like that. And it's funny, we were just talking about it, that Freud was it in that era. It was you have to go and see a psychoanalyst to do stuff. Anyway, so this was one of the first things I was intrigued when I did psychology was the id. Those three structural model of personality. The id, which instincts, how you as God has given us that, the ego, what's my reality in this, what's real, and super ego, the morality. So you look at ego, instinct, reality, morality, what's real for you. So that's a structural model of personality, that our instinct, our gut feeling sometimes is always a gateway to exit stuff that we don't. Sometimes we ignore our instincts and we pay for it. But amazing that God has given that as a green light or a red light in our, to warn us, to know when to escape, know when to say something when you feel I just feel I need to say this to protect someone and to protect you from yourself. So we get these defense mechanisms, unconscious ways. Yes, it's our defense mechanism. Ways people protect themselves from painful feelings, stress, or conflict. They help reduce anxiety. Yeah. If you've been through a lot of trauma, your body can't take, that's how our body functions. It shuts off. I'll lock that away so you can function as a person. Because if that's always in your front, by you go karangia. So I'll reserve that for you somewhere. But then when you look at it, a lot of that stuff from other studies, it's away at you. So there has to be a way of letting things out through talking, through prayer, through Christ. And then we have the repressed, where you repress a lot of those memories. This is what's still sitting in Freud, meaning pushing painful memories or thoughts out of awareness you're not aware of. And an example, that child who was abused may not remember the event, but it still affects their behavior. You'll see a lot of kids didn't know what happened. They'll go into those promiscuous behavior. They'll just go from one relationship to another. They don't know why they're doing it, but in their subconscious, or tucked away, their consciousness is locked away until something happens and that comes out, or healing comes through that, to that space. So that's repressed when you have repressed memories. So a denial meaning you're refusing to accept it. Oh, that didn't happen to me. Or just put a simple one there. You do not know, I don't have cancer. No, that must be wrong. I'm fit. I cycle every day. I eat the right food. No, I can't be sick. Because that's a death sentence for me. I'm not accepting that. We deny. There's a denial mechanism that comes into the projection. I was talking about it, where you project your values, your beliefs, your principles onto your kids. We do that. Or when you say, hey, man, yeah. I said, no. If I'm projecting to someone else, I say, you know what? I'm no problem. Problem is someone them. You are in the talk also. Because the anger that's in him is just projecting it on to someone else. Cross blame go lamb. Mary no cross blame. She's angry because something is in that person. And I think when I was in London, one black family is ringing me. You can look in beginning below me. I'm pro manimal plan man loa. People are like me married in mania. So I go, get on the train, an hour, 2 hours, go come back. Go, and one day me talk him to Bla. Well, Charin come to PNG, come to London. Me told him to Bla. Hey, beginning name Big Bla now, she's an adult. This is where you go from the stages. She's not the 12-year-old, 16, 19 adolescent stage. We look at that. I'm 30 now, yeah. I didn't go into the age factor, but I said, you know what? You guys should just accept it. Because what principles and values you are doing, you're projecting that. I use that word. you're projecting that onto your daughter. Your belief, that's how we were brought up. Your Christian values, your way, Lord, sit down, Lord, bless. And what they said, just trust. All she needs is your love, for you to love her through this. And she's happily married to that English guy. They're actually at home at the moment. Yeah. But I just got to the stage, I can't keep jumping on that train. So I said, you just have to let her go. So your job now is to just love her and accept her. All your projection work you're doing, because she's not there, you can't mother her anymore. And she's a good girl. She's a Christian. She loves Jesus. So that's what us parents do. We project our thinking to our kids. We grew up in this, but they don't know that you grew up with. So you let it out in the way you talk, the way you treat him all, talk strong. So that's another word, projection. The example, a person who is angry with a friend accuses the friend of being angry with them. But if the friend isn't angry, and yet I'm angry, so she's projecting and talk Maria must me. Hey, Maria, she's a gentle giant. You know what's to know at the inch low koroslo and sending Maria cross him stop him. You hear that? In short, repression hides things. Denial refuses it to accept that. And projection, you throws it onto someone else. I want to feel good. I'll just keep getting angry with everyone around me. So it makes me that I'm powerful. Looking at the power authority issue yesterday for those cultural anthropology students, you see the power issue that's played out in families also. So everything is all intermesh. They mesh into. So it's up to us to draw the line and say, oh, why am I behaving like this? Sometimes you ask that. And I sometimes think, why am I doing this? Do you ever stop to ask yourself that? I do. That's out of character. Why am I doing that? When I sit down, I'm thinking. And I was doing that with my kids because I was bashed, I was chased, I was beaten. I started doing that with my girls. And then God spoke to me and said, no, I don't have to repeat that when they were little. We don't have to repeat that because it was done to us. There is a time where we have to cut, we have to break that. Through learning, through understanding stuff, through God's grace. That He comes in and rescues us from bad behaviors. We've been trained, we've lived with it. We don't have to repeat that. So he explains how personality, I'm just watching that, develop in childhood. Behavior is driven by unconscious desire, especially sexual aggression, aggressive ones. And Freud's theory is called psychoanalytic theory, or psychosexual theory of development. So this is actually stages, oral stage, 0 to 1. And he talks about those little things. We are not even go there to know about this stuff. When I was doing, I think this guy must be nuts but no, there's common sense somewhere in there. Babies experience comfort through challenge. He looks at the minor details and try to. This is what people do to invent theory or create theory. They just look at all sorts of weird things or good things. Or in challenge here is may later show as habits like overeating or depending too much on oral comfort. Some people who didn't have that, they really turn. We don't understand until we probably study psychology or study stuff that we understand why people behave. That's why people have to study all this stuff. So when a child is acting out, what happened there? You look at their story, their history. But a lot of us don't have time for that, or we don't have the knowledge to extract those kinds of thinking. So that's his oral stage, and he talks about the anal stage 1 to 3, where they're starting to learn. Me boy or me girl, you see little kids. This is where you see the little people when they play. Even for me, it's taking me back because I learned all this stuff when I was doing my first year. Focus on learning self-control, especially in the toilet training. And I'm going through that thing that with my fourth boo-boo. Mom, just make sure he goes to the toilet. Tell him he'll have an accident. And the one coming up oh, Papu, he knows now. He does his own thing. Papu, I need to go to the toilet. But the 2.5, you have to prod him. Jacob, do you need to go to the toilet? Sometimes you go to Solombusia. So we call them bush toilet. You like go bush toilet. Planted flowers stop outside you. Walk in PNG style go. Or anyone. We are all humans when we're desperate to do that. So positive guidance in that is where we be gentle with them. We don't have to do the rule breaking things with kids at this stage, because you can turn them off. You're so strict that some kids end up having that anxiety. They wet their beds, and some kids are up to 6, 7. They do that. Why? We just don't know. But we're doing psychology and other stuff. We'll put some stuff in. We just take things for granted, I guess. And then children become aware of difference between boys and girls at the age of 3 to 6. Boys, they know they can wear shorts. They can't wear skirts and dresses, and that's for girls. They start to differentiate stuff. Healthy support helps develop a clear sense of identity. And this is 6 to 12. Energy is focused on school. They're already thinking, I'm going to big school. The energy level, like my 6-year-old. Papa, I'm going to big school next year, this year. Yes. So it's a time for friendship. She's got friends, learning and doing social skills within that. So children grow in teamwork. They become friends. They sleep over with friends. You didn't have that before. They solve things. They build things. This is then from 12 and above. This is where the energies, the development centers on forming mature relationships from the age of 12 on, where you start to see boys and girls starting to have those feelings. You can't, it's no fault of theirs, it's natural. And when we teach them at home, then relationships are healthier relationships when they get to all these stages. So I've put Erickson's stuff to there, so you don't have to look through the notes. It's all summed up in that table. So the critics, it's always good to have critics. Freud's theory is often criticized for focusing too much on sexuality and lacking solid evidence. Still, he greatly influenced psychology by showing how early childhood shapes personality. His identity is about the unconscious, that's his main hiding, unconscious mind and defense mechanisms continue to impact modern psychology and counseling today, especially on the unconscious memories that we going. Oh, but I put that before. I put 2 in there. Sorry, you got 2 copies. And the practical implication of that is, although parts of Freud's theory are no longer accepted, his focus on how early experiences shape personality is still important, and that's true. It's still very important. And modern psychology now combines many perspectives to better explain human behavior and development. So it's good to have that. You pick from that, you pick from that. I'll make this my own. I'll work better in this, and that's what professionals do in terms of our own work. We do that, and then we look at Erickson's psychosocial theory. We'll do this, and then we have a break after this. Erickson's he's the one who grew up without a father. His mom was a Jewish Danish lady. Erickson's psychosocial theory explains how people grow and change emotionally. We do, don't we? And socially throughout life. He said that everyone goes through 8 stages. 8.
Tandy,
Yeah.
I would have not question but clarification. If which particular age of children is the most difficult time for us to deal with? Which part of the age? Yeah, because we go through the stage of ages and the motor cycle. So, which age is the difficult age that we can deal with?
Sorry, me no harim good, yeah, something I'm not clear. Who's talking?
Direct,
Then
direct talking here.
just put the mic away a bit from your mouth.
Okay,
I'm good.
I'm asking a
That's good. That's good.
question here. Which
Okay.
age of these age groups are the most difficult times that the parents or the caretakers will deal with? Because there
Adolescent.
are
Yeah.
simple different stages or different way of interaction with the children. So which age is the most difficult age to deal with?
I think it's the adolescent age. It's ages 12 to the adolescent age. Done it from the age of 12 when they go into 10, 11, 12, especially the 12, where there's identity crisis, where we look at that with, now we're going to Erickson. He'll explain a bit more on that. Yeah. I think the teenage adolescent is where we get a lot of problems as mothers and parents from the teenage. From the primary age kids, they're still under, okay, but when you go there, this is where understanding this will help us understand and help our children better rather than getting cranky with them. Because some of those changes, it's no fault of theirs. It's the hormones, it's the chemical, it's the chemistry in their body changes. And environmental changes affect that. So we look at it that children and adolescents, it looks at the holistic platform there, emotionally, socially, environmentally, psychologically, and spiritually. They're impacted. So as parents, we lay those foundations for them at home. And as I was saying to that video, Miluki Master, the teachers don't know the kids. They're just there to spoon feed them with information about education, but we don't spoon feed them. they're part and parcel of who we are. We train them the right way from home. So that's why I always stress the importance of you simply look sawe, you look sawe. My kid's okay. She's 10, 11. You start to see the behavior. Me must dress good, me must come in grass, me good. I have to go with my friends. They're just exploring. It's a time for exploration. So if you've done psychology, you see all that and you accept that it's a normal process. But for me, the difficult years are the teenage years, 11, 12 up. And we'll look at a story in the second part. Yeah, well, I'll take that. The second part, I'll take it from the textbook we're using, from Gary Collins. Textbook that's I'm using, Gary Collins, Christian Counselling. So this one I wanted because we had to look at the theories because psychology impacts. Counseling comes from the roots are from psychological training in that. Now you play all mama, it's you play. We've all gone through that. We can look at our own lives. But now with peer pressure, phones, technology, everything's changed. They're not growing up in the village, they're in a different culture. The culture is different. Peer pressure is a big contributing factor to those two. And we see a lot of issues while we were in bands too. You see a lot of things starting to come out from the youth behavior and all that. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, teenage years, adolescence years, 11, 12 up. Is that okay? Did I answer your question? Yeah, but we look at these different stages by you. Look, sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
It'll help us. So Erickson's actually has the 8 stages, and the conflict one comes in here.
Okay, I'm Guinean speaking. As I have looked at this morning's part of counseling, it's a bit different from adult counseling. And I have cited something. I've been in the field for so many years, but the children have been neglected in counseling, in my church or in my place. I've never seen a pastor or counselor counseling a child, but only adults. My question is, how can we speak to them? There are so many counselors who, pastors or elders, leaders in our places. Some speak to the kids or children harshly, strongly, not in a genuine, polite way. So how can we speak to a child who has got a problem, adult, a child who is growing?
True.
Yeah, which kind of way, how can we speak to them? If I don't love them, if I don't, bring them closer to me, I think they will never come to me if I'm a counselor. So the way I speak to them must be a good way, a good, genuine, polite way, and also behave well as a counselor. Will know that I'm a spiritual father who can take care of him or her in this small age. Thank you. That's just what I think from looking at this very, very important part of counseling. Thank you.
Yeah. And as I was saying earlier on, we treat kids like they're part of the garden growing. They grow, we know, they'll grow, they'll go to school. But I'm not wrong with you, mitolo no sabe lo disla. But also little sabe you black is him, you black help him, narabla. And as you were saying, we see our kids, I'm generalizing now, passing blue meal, they're our kids. It's like we've been given the green light to be harsh, to be gentle, to smack them, to not give them food, to abuse them, either verbally or mentally or physically. When kids grow up with that, they'll build that up. That'll affect them. And what you're saying, no one is recognizing that it's only Sunday school you may walk him, and we just take everyone is okay. There are probably kids come to Sunday school who are being abused and no one talks about it. And even people in the community would know, but they come. No one talks about that. I go to settlements there, people are to one that stage, all talk, people are lowest to Britain, incest and people are. But there are kids in the church that have been told not to tell anyone. But you can tell when kids are unhappy, when kids don't participate, when kids are aloof, which they are not part of it, they try very hard, but they know next time is coming. So how can they protect them? You can tell. And these are our jobs to be leaders, to be parents in communities, to look out for those kids. And as you said, there's no counseling for kids, but that love and because me looking here, I grew up. I was a village kid. I was chased. I was bashed. I was hit. So we don't have to repeat that. We need to turn that into a way that Papa God by helping me. Sometimes it's hard to break that, but you have to come before God for that. So me also to one challenge you blato now. Training more Sunday school teachers too. Those church blue black. This is why counseling is going to be a plus in your community if you said that. Not only story mothers and papas, all different groups of youth, but all beginning too. And it's good to see that CLTC is training the early childhood education because a lot of this is covered. It should. Developmental stages of kids, which year they learn, how do they process stuff. So the development of a child, even from 0, 1, will go on top of you.
Terry,
Okay.
I'd like to say one thing here. Eric speaking.
Okay, Eric.
Yes, we know that the kids are our next generation, and we have been counseling them as Papa Mama. We have counseled them in a way that they can live. We also educate, first education that we are giving is the Bible. People grew up in Bible, they live in Bible and they stay in Bible, but when they go for a fair education like grade 10, 12, and then go on, they're influenced by some, pressure, peer pressures. And then, they forget about what the parents have been counseling them and they tell them to live in a way that they can be equipped in a way of Bible teaching and all this. But when the peer pressure, that influence, they come in a way that we don't want. This is what we have seen as fathers and mothers. We have seen this. And the one thing that I've realized is Yet they can do many things in their own ways. As suppose you looking more picking you picking man. And we'll make him number out and then all by come with them kind of all thinking that. And then some disturbance too long school now by married one the come was married to one kind. But one thing we should do is I think don't neglect them. It is one thing that we can do. Treat them in a way that they are present, but peer pressure make him only come good. So we have to, one thing is we have to give them good courage, tell them to come to the house, invite them, give them, counsel them, and then that is the way that we can make them come back again to realize where they are. And all the Bible verses and the good teaching that we have taught them is already with them. It is in blood. So, I'm looking inside laws. I'm papa mama been looking more picking Mary, picking Mary, and more Sam. So one plus something you mean should lo make him, you mean no can neglect. We should have, we should do something to them so that they can come back, and then they will realize where they have fallen. And then they will continue their life in a good way that they can prosper. So this is one of the some of the things that we have seen as father and papa and mama. You may be looking at something. So I'm good more. You can not can neglect him or picking him you because peer pressure make him na only sometimes they will come with some burden where papa and mama by Karim land. So not neglect. I'm plus something me looking. So Miss one something Miss make him all picking Mary or picking monkey and Miss help him more long. Yeah, you've been making so only been finishing get 10 12 stuff, but and then peer pressure make him na only so no can back him all no can haste him all. We don't have to haste them because they are our kids. So they are there, but peer pressure make him only back up. So we have to counsel them again, and then they will start from where they are, and then come back to know or come back to realize where they are, where they have fallen. So these are some of the things that I have seen. So anyway, it's discussing Pastoral.
Yeah, thank you. Because I'm close to the level of the this la heavy to now this la concern. Because you were producing kids even through the system, education system, and they come out at the other end. When they come back to us, they come back to the village, yeah. So you're looking at children and adolescents and kids who can't make it in education and back. So big heavy stuff. So thanks everyone for sharing that. We want to make last story lame, but we will look at Eric since we started from 0 to 1. The trusting during this stage, infants learn to trust. They know their mamas are. Give them to someone else, they'll know. I've got a 5-month-old little boo-boo too. He knows who his papa is. Big smiles always.
Sorry, Teddy, on that too, suppose if we neglect them and if we ask them, they will create another story and they'll give burden to us. You mean Walkman, very blow Papa God. We are in the ministry field and we are in the field of Papa God. And then they are good pictures to us. They will have that picturized eyes and they are picking him long. Pastor Man, Pastor Maria. But then they will realize that they have gone far. Suppose you neglect, now suppose you ask him, suppose you make good long him, all by go now go make him narabla mo go na bakarapim name blow you na bakarap mo too one time so. one thing we should do is we should invite them and come back again and comfort them. Where Gubla well or you may make suppose you may not make him all by go west here. All by background name you know background more too one time. I'm always something me looking long end. Anyway, thank you.
And I think one of the things too is you miss Skulem law, Papa God, but we need to create something too that they can do the community too. So you have to think of ways, ground him all youth can make it, where they do top up learning or they do farming or small business or whatever. This is the thing that the church lacks also. Skills law help him narplalo. No, ask him toyata solo Thanksgiving or but help people to earn him little toya to some of us. Plenty of this love, especially the youth. This is where a lot of people have dreamt of good life. This is where the conflict, and we look at that in this stages of social development. We're looking at the early childhood. It might make sense if we go on. I'll just move on to that one, and we can look. This is the 3 to 6. They explore the environment. And then you look at the 6 to 12. Children develop a sense of competence and achievement. They all start low school now. They're involved in a lot of the stuff. They have friends. They've built a network of good friends. They may have their own little ups and downs. They talk, oh, that so-and-so was not nice to me today. They'll tell you if they something too early not talk, whether they've been bullied at school. And if this is not picked up by the teachers, they carry on to the next level. So that's from the industry versus inferiority, where you've got that inferiority complex. Industry, where you're industrious, I remember one of the lecturer when we first visited CLTC, and one American here. And out of the blue, he just said, Tandy, why aren't people industrious? I said, crikey. Me hold him past them, me swallow him cow past them. And I said, what do you mean? And I said, industrious in your context is different to what we are industrious in our own way as Papua New Guineans. You don't use the same yardstick to measure our kind of performance to your Western performance. We achieve things in our cultural way of doing things, because that's how we've been trained. You can change a green stick to a yellow stick, no. That green stick will always be green. And it's funny because, and I said, wow, why did that man ask that? And I said, I know what his intention, but I said, we learn at different pace. You give us a chance and you shape us, we learn at different pace. Yeah, and that always stays with me. Why aren't the students industrious in this? They have their own, one marked as a law. So children develop that. They'll start to have that. If you've given them the opportunity, you have the environment to shape them into that. Good encouragement, good environment where we'll teach them, and the teachers take time to notice those who are lagging behind, or parents. You come and check. You learn him on him today. And if your relationships has been formed there, beginning by talking to me, we did this, but I'm not good at this. Can you help me? Because we don't just leave the teaching to the teachers. If you know legally walking maths, you will get a counting coffee beans or coconut pods. You do that. And the beginning by Isabe, oh, Mama will help me, Papa will help me. You make that learn, you're not CLTC law you yet. Or if you're in the community, how many churches have out of school homework centers law, bless law, where you actually encourage that kind?
Hello. Hello, Paul and Barnes.
Yeah, Paul.
I was a comment here, comment on a
Yeah.
suggestion. By studying or looking at this study, I see that there are three very important competing factors that are affecting the youth, I mean the world today, especially as the children and the adults, adolescents. I see there are three factors or things, lives that are really having a strong competition. One is the Christianity, faith. Two is the cultural lifestyle and modernism, modern life now we are living in.
Mm.
Now, seeing from these three perspectives, I see that it seems that modernism is overtaking the Christianity and our culture. Cultural way lifestyle is dying out, and as well as the Christianity too. I mean, faith is dying out. So how can we really adjust this so that we can move in this changing world? Because I see that the culture has shaped the past generation to this life and to the next generation. If we are looking only at the Christian perspective and forgetting the world today, it seems that counseling may not be helping them. So how can we really adjust their life so that we can save the people? Because looking at the Jewish culture has shaped the people. I mean, the way lifestyle of the people have been shaped by the way so that they see God in the culture. So in that way, they fear God. And for us today, I think, for my suggestion, my opinion is that I think we can have to contextualize the Christian faith with our Melanesian culture so that we can move in this time.
Mm.
It's very
And
competitive.
thanks, Paul. And that's taking a holistic approach to all this. And what we're just doing this morning is just opening little window le head blue blah and eye blue blah the look savelo. Like what I'm just saying, that this inferiority complex, one of you blind, you know that you look down on yourself, you self-pity and that. But the industrious is the one you get up and do stuff. You have boldness in it, you have confidence. And if the home has produced that kid, and whether the church has failed or the parents have failed, but I mean no romblo church to them, no romblo mama papa. And now it's your job as kisimliklik savelo. That is something as I keep saying, this we put in lots of demand you blaya. You are the church, you are the pastor. So if you set up a counseling and if you print out some of the stuff, I'll look more of this. There's so much online you can learn and can help you unpack a lot of this stuff. But the main thing is love is not enough and Lotu is not enough. You've got to do the practical bit too. The practical application law. Living out that love. When it's with kids, as I was saying, anyone has a space at the church where kids can come and do their own work? Suppose not got light law house. Or they do that. They come, you discipline those kids, you train them, and you inject in them to the desire, I need to do better. I can do this and come out of the village and do something else. So that can be a part of our helping kids, teenagers, that the church kids can be that hub, that place of community life and learning life and spiritual center. Yeah, so that's his thing from age 6 to 12, you lay those foundations of, they don't have to be, why would they have to feel inferior? That inferior complex. Because it's coming from a negative space. If you want kids to be industrious, there's one word you can add to your vocabulary. No, I'm industrious in my own way. I'm productive and do things. So you can look at that. It's like initiative or guilt. They're all positive and negative as we look through this. And the next one is identity. And this is where a lot of our kids fall into this, adolescence, between age 12 and 18. And this is the group we're talking about, is they explore and develop their own personal identity, including their values and beliefs. They might still be living off moms and dads because they take me to church. But some kids, they when they grow up, they won't go to church. Why? Were we strict on them? Did we drag them to everything? Or did we give them space to think for themselves? And that's what, in one of the role plays, I need my own time. Sometimes we have to give space. I need space to breathe. Failure to establish a clear identity can lead to confusion and an unstable sense of self. Even this, when we were in Samoa, kids, and I saw this, in Samoa, I didn't know there were lots of Fafafine there, or Gelegele. And then I went to my friend's house. I said, Lucy, Tandy, he's already been groomed to be a Fafafine there. And I said, why? He was only a kid. He was in an adolescent, niece, nephew. So it actually almost grew things without being conscious of it. And I said, I didn't know there were so many Gelegele in Samoa. Because the culture nurtures that too. So when you do that, then conflicts and confusion comes in kids. And because of that, they just take that. Failure to do so may lead to, this is the next one, intimacy. I'll go first to 5, identity and roles. This explore and develop their personal identity, including their values, beliefs, and life goals. So if I've been talked to as, in a teasing, joking way, that kid will come to believe, probably I'll be a Fafafine. What's my life goal? And the way we talk to our children, you don't realize that you are hammering it into their psychic. If you call them stupid, okay, they'll grow up believing they're stupid. So their identity in terms of knowing where they are is sometimes blurred and merged into a lot of stuff. And that's where a lot of confusion, you see a lot of kids acting out and doing stuff that doesn't fall in line with your own perceptions and where you look, picking it below you. So this identity versus role confusion is what's happening in high schools. And that's what is taken in grade 9. The actual question is, who am I? And that came out in one of the master students' paper. As a teacher, he was looking at as gender, looking at gender equality. But he looked at that, and I went back to recheck that, and I said, wow, they actually have that. And not so much, little bit of culture in it, but it's coming from American input. Failure to establish a clear identity can lead to confusion. This is where you get the confusion in role as a child. For me, as a 12-year-old going on 13, I was about to go to school in high school. But my roles, I lost that sense of being a child to go and play with my friends. I was a carer. I was taking care of my father. My roles, I could tell the sense of freedom as a child to a sense of responsibility as a young kid, as it became I became an adult overnight. So when you see kids doing lots of stuff, going and carrying lots of food or firewood or garden and looking after kids, you stop and think, well, Mama, Papa, where? How many roles are these kids playing? Sometimes we rob the kids enjoying their own sense of kids playing and enjoying. We give them things that should be our job as parents, as grown-ups. We load them up with a lot of stuff. So then another stage is intimacy versus isolation. This is looking at 18 and up. Young adults seek meaningful relationships and intimate connections with others. Failure to do so may lead to feelings of loneliness and isolation. But when we come to kids, this is looking at identity versus confusion, where they don't find that intimacy in terms of love from the parents and protection, and that they look for that. That's their role. What's my goal for when I'm here? Do I have to go? I'm not doing well at school, so some of them, their comfort is to have a relationship. And we find it's happening too within schools. All confusion starts to come in. And the other one is that the generative versus stagnation with Pastoral. This is coming to the older ages. This one you probably can read, but I was more concentrating on the childhood and adolescence. But that's all there for you guys to read anyway. So I might stop there and let you guys have a break. I'll just finish off with this practical implications. Erickson's theory highlights the importance of nurturing healthy social and emotional development across the lifespan. It doesn't just stop at teenagers. It encourages individuals to achieve a sense of identity, self-worth, and purpose. And Erickson's emphasized on the impact of social and cultural factors, recognizes the interconnectedness of individual development and across the broader, mainly culturally too, in terms of where we are. And the critic on that, some criticize his work, a lack of empirical evidence may not be applicable. A lot of cultural questions around that also. However, his focus on psychosocial development and the lifelong nature of growth has influenced developmental psychology. So that's another, in education. So mainly in education. So PNJ is using a lot of his Erickson's theory, influencing their curriculum in helping kids to know who am I, with a lot of, this is in year 9, with a lot of other themes around that. So if you've got a kid in year 9 or year 8, 9, then this will make you say, I need to follow this up with my kid. Find out what they're actually doing. So you can be part of that process. You can be part of helping that person to, might help you to what they're learning is more than what I'm teaching out to them. Look at other branches of that, a lot more, because it's becoming part of a curriculum. This theory emphasizes on the potential for growth and change throughout life and aligns with the contemporary views of development. It does. So I'll let you guys have a short break. So Erickson's theory highlights how personal growth is shaped by social and cultural experiences. Unlike Freud, it covers the whole lifespan and helps explain how people handle life changes. But we have to put in the cultural aspect. It's coming from the West, but how we put our cultural understanding in the person blaming, or you contextualize it. So we'll have a break now and right, go stretch him leg past them, and then we'll look at Piaget's theory of cognitive development next. And then probably after this, we'll do a bit of role play, because this has got a lot to cover in this. I'll switch between the two PowerPoint. So for now, we can have a break. But that's a lot to take in, but the theories will help us. How you're working with kids. Thank you. Tata. No good buy you mean no lunch, but you go 60 tasol go. Is Eugenia there? Eugenia, come on. Oh God.
I'm stopped.
I'm stop. Okay.
Malane yaw.
Abu, ya ugire umunya kite. Alagene na mari. Yeah. I'm just wondering if I put the wrong PowerPoint on yours. Just wanting to check because I've put in for the other section. I've put in, but I put in the wrong one, I guess. Shall we start? Yes. No, could you go 60 go down the time and go now? I've just jumped from the first thinking of looking at the theory, me like golo section where we talk lam. I think I lo belbe you me with the look adolescence past them because I wanted to touch on that. Who am I? That's on the other presentation, but I've the one that I left. There's a lot of information, but it's for your own reading too. We don't have to cover all those. So the main ones that I've covered, like Erickson's, we might go to Piaget, but I want to go to the other ones so we look at more practical stuff. That's all the theory behind it. But this, I'm not sure if you're looking at the same PowerPoint or if I've got the wrong one. Have you got this? I put two PowerPoint on the cluster. Or did I add a wrong one there? What you've got on your, is this the same? The same as your, this is the second one. The other one has got lots of PowerPoint. That's over 100. I just put that in and with all the stuff that we don't have to go through all that. You can, but I just wanted to go to the adolescence bit now, if that's okay. And this is an important bit where we see who is an adolescent. They are no longer children, so we'll have to start treating them differently. Sometimes we still see our adolescents, teenager is still a child. So we stop, I think this is like I think them, we stop low one time you will get that. Our children are our properties, we treat them like that, but if we switch them, that they are God's gift to us. I think our attitude to looking after children would be a bit different, eh? So they are no longer children, but they're adults now, yeah. Will start not yet adults, so they're in transition. Why do we have to study this? Because it's one of the most important stages in life, and this is where we were saying a lot of problems, a lot of conflicts. It's like a highway which road will I take? This road will take me to good life. This road will take me to disaster. This road will take me to a future where I can be educated and learn. This one, maybe go back to place or maybe working on him. Plan something. Within teenagers, there's lots of things. And lo me do me thing. Only making me lo maritim one blaman lo place. I'll be honest with you guys. I was so confused. Me working grade 8 low high school. Lo. You talk about confusion, then Erickson's. It really fits. If you look back in your own life, in your teenage life, but you go through other stuff too where you don't like stuff, but you know what I did? Me go straight na talk strong lo all auntie mama blow me. 6 plan now to uncles. You bly no can walk him this land, Miss Tablo school here. You bly na big plus sister blue me, you bly Lucy na you bly asking me over him. Me car I want them here. I was so confused. I'm thinking, I just lost my dad by the time my father died in my care. So a lot of things were really mixed up in my head. I wanted to be a child, but here I was a carer. But then I have to go to school. So bloody something go Paulo, and then this luck came to me in grade 8. Well, you sabe why all lines are giving you kai. Because only marking you lo married in beginning blood. Hey, please, me because I'm not a guy here. So you look at a lot of cultural mixing with your own way of looking at things. You still start law school and mix, yeah. So me using me now, lo example, lo this like in passing. I was actually in this stage. But you know, I stood up and talk na car I want them. You took you plan not respecting me. You plan look at me, look out in Papa, blah, plan walk in this. Let me start law school, yeah. But some of us don't talk. We accept it and then we just suffer with it like that. So just imagine me being a carer for my father. Me go working my exempt, that's all, and me come back stablo house. Then when I was told I was going to high school, me refuse, yeah. Me only pass lo career, me less lo go to school. Me like go back lo place. So you can really see where that space between that age, so much can happen in their young lives. That's why I was saying, you see a kid that's doing so much, you stop as a person. You ask him, you all right? Be looking me walking plan to something. You walking plan to something, big plan man by walking now you walking. Some kids are like slaves when you look at it in that way too. So many of the struggles we see in adults today are rooted because unresolved issues, Lord, adolescent age, group laws them. So that's why I ask him law Tandy before you. Problematic age is that age, 12 to 19, 12 to 18. You form him life, come to little beginning, they're still under you, look out him. But when they come to that different, girls' body changes, boys, their voice starts to break, they start to notice grass come up. Lots of changes physically, mentally, emotionally. But some of those things set you up for life, like what happened there in my own upbringing, lo place, lo tambo this lot, took me through Unitech, where I was saved by all that. Well, get the poor man blumule, got bell nango. Me stop. Because talk blue big man stop blue life blue me too. Time me click come. So all those grounding lo Sunday school, lo mama, papa, lo auntie, growing overnight, losing big kids. I remember it distinctly how I felt. I want to be free. That little window of opportunity when my mom came back, and I just felt that freedom. But I could hear my girlfriends and all poor man, pilay na bis bilay go to, but me no na. But even to this day, I thank God that those foundations set me up to be the person who I am today. Suppose me no God, yeah, mami bubulo place penis. I saw my friends being bashed around by their boyfriends. I sat on the fence and watched. All maniang by Mulmeri Loea come to class with black faces and swollen faces and no God. By me no maragaman black man and by fighting me. So those kind of things shapes our teenagers. So I went to Unitech. I will never forget that. That's time of my life where so much was happening. And you look around, please look around and help other kids. Some are probably struggling with school fees. Some are struggling. We just don't. And this is where our opening Lord Church Blue Black can be a space for not only youth group, because youth group too, you don't talk to kids in terms of story. They're all part of a group where they're doing activities. Now this one I was saying, this is on the second PowerPoint. Are you guys following me on this? Put your hand up if you are. No? It's different. Have you got the same PowerPoint?
Hello, Tandy.
Yeah.
We don't have the PowerPoint that you are presenting currently.
Yeah. It must
From the
be.
cluster, there's nothing in the cluster. There are other.
So it's
files.
different from on yours, isn't it?
Yes.
I'll just
We're
go
trying
in.
our best to find it.
Okay, this is probably where, because I've got it on my iPad and it's different. I said, cracky, probably I put the wrong one. Wait, I'll just. Oh, sorry, through here. Should have checked it when you were all out. Oh.
What we found in the cluster that you uploaded for us is the theory development issues for children and adolescents and development issues for children and the 2 role plays for
And
this week.
the other one, the other slide, the other PowerPoint, no God.
Patakritana.
Oh. Hey, I downloaded all those last night. Okay. What happened to that?
Hello.
Yeah.
I think the notes on the PowerPoint is in the cluster.
Yeah.
We got it.
Have you got this? The one no, this
Yeah.
is. Yeah, the one I was doing
Yes.
got it, but I put 2. So I'm going back in to check on cluster. If you don't mind, I'll just stop this first. Should have checked that again this morning.
Sorry, Pom. Can you help us find where our lecturer upload the file that she's presenting now? Because for us in CLTC, we can't find it. And Barnes, sorry.
6 weeks. Week 6.
Formally, we also have that copy, so it's in week 6.
Week 6.
Cluster.
Week 6.
Yeah.
Myers.
Yeah, week 6, theory development issues, children and adolescents. You scroll down, the same PDF file, you scroll down to the bottom, that PowerPoint presentation
All the way to
is
the
there.
bottom.
All the way down. The title of the PDF is Theory Development Week 6, MEA, Theory Development, Children and Adolescents, PDF copy. You scroll all the way down, it's there.
$130. Oh no, that's it, the other one. Yes. Where am I?
It's on page 86 out of page 130. 131, page 86.
No. So which one is that? So the one I was.
Thank you, Pom and Lay. Now we can find the PowerPoint that she. Yeah, yeah, I can find it at the file. Remember, you scroll, go down, go down.
Yeah, scroll all the way down. It's at the bottom of the PDF.
Yeah, thank you.
So
We
can,
found it.
so what number is the? Because that first one is over 100 slides, isn't it? Is that the one you're looking at?
Yeah, it's
No,
131
131 pages.
pages.
Yes, and the other one, have you got that? It's only 44. There should be two on your
44.
That's I've left that one, so I'm on the other one. Have you?
For
Can
the
you?
44 one, we couldn't find it. It's only 44 pages. But we only found the one you are presenting on the 131 pages as Tony has instructed us to find.
Because I'm on cluster. I can see it on cluster.
Yeah, we have both.
Oh, you have both.
Yes, we have both. The 44 page and the 131, both are on cluster.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah.
So so hang on, I'll just.
So the one you are presenting it's included in the 131 page.
What about Paul? Tony Lole, you got it?
Yep, I'm talking.
Oh, is that Tony? Sorry. Okay. So it looks like I've got a different version on that.
Thanks to Matthias Impromptu for bringing that up.
Okay, so if I. So is this the one you're seeing?
Yeah.
Is that the other one that Paul, Tony, Iplalole, is this the one you're looking at? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've actually mixed up all this because the one I wanted to show is actually on the one that I'm presenting about the group, the education department using that. So can I just go back on that and you just watch it and I'll add that on after. So I just want to share that and I'll come back to the PowerPoint that I've got on you. Sorry about that. I must have mixed the two. Oh, look at the. Okay, I'll go back to this. Sorry, guys. We should just sit face to face and talk. All this layer. God, I lost my. Are you with me? Can you see where I am? Oh, lo. No, I've lost it. So this is the PowerPoint you're looking at, Eugenia and Lay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the PowerPoint we can. Paul has helped us to find it.
Now this is the one. We'll look at that story and then we'll get into about Kevin's story. That's if I can find it in the book. Should have checked this before. Okay, let's look at this. Looks like I put the second PowerPoint was different to what I planned, but that's all right. It's all good stuff. So we'll look at this story first. If you can go move to childhood, if you're looking at me. We'll just look at this story and I'll read it. And you playing him. This is about childhood. This is Kevin's story. The teacher called him a troubled child. His parents called him unmanageable. The other kids called him a variety of and the neighbors called him a spoiled brat. And sometimes they called the police. Kevin was only 13 and still with a boy-sized body, but he could swear like a trooper, and he always had created more havoc, more mess than all the other kids in the neighborhood combined. He was constantly at odds with his parents, in conflict with his teachers, and unable to get along with his peers. His three sisters hated him, and his presence in Sunday school always disrupted the class. Kevin's mischief in the neighborhood was well known. Using a can of spray paint, he had left graffiti on the side of the local supermarket. Twice he had been caught shoplifting, and once he was suspected of starting a fire in a neighborhood's garage, even though his guilt was never proven. In an effort to reform their son, the parents sent him to a boarding school 1 year, and the discipline was strict, and Kevin seemed to respond well to the routine, but his behavior was even more out of control when he came home. The school scheduled conferences, the juvenile authorities discussed his case, and the family doctor prescribed some Samplamaras. The parents went for counseling. Kevin went to a different counselor, and eventually the whole family was involved. The problem was increased by the prominence of the parents. Kevin's father was a successful gynecologist. He worked in the hospital. And his mother was involved in local politics. So you can see their position in the community. Both were active in their church, and the counselor wondered if the parents were neglecting their son and if Kevin's attention-seeking behavior was an attempt to be loved and to get noticed by his busy parents. But Kevin's behavior didn't seem to change, regardless of the amount of attention that came his way. The boy seemed to be sincerely sorry for his behavior and often vowed to change, but he seemed powerless to do so. Some men in the church concluded that Kevin must be demon-possessed, and they met with the pastor to discuss the possibility of exorcism. All Catholics are in this law, where they do exorcism to Rausimul Tambaran. One day, Kevin's grandmother read an article about a chemical imbalance that sometimes leads to hyperactive, out of control childhood behavior. The parents were desperate and not much interested in some new theory about their son's behavior. Secretly, the father had concluded that Kevin would become a juvenile delinquent and probably spend the rest of his life in jail. Nevertheless, at the grandmother's urging, Kevin was taken to the well-known clinic where he was seen by a specialist in chemical disorders. The physician prescribed a treatment program consisting of a change of diet and the use of medication that would correct the imbalance in Kevin's system. And the change in his young man's behavior was radical. He and his family continued in counseling for a while, but before long, Kevin was back in school trying to catch up on the things he hadn't learned. His behavior problems have largely disappeared, and everybody is grateful, including the neighbors and the police. One big blast story is the red. Can you see what's happening in there? This was a problem kid. Do you find any kid a little bit similar to Kevin's story? Probably those in the towns, those in the cities. Do you see any kids? But the beautiful thing about us, which I always fall back to, is you don't really pick up anything because there's always people around us in PNG. But there are some kids, when you look at them, whoa, they probably, you start to hear this word that's coming in, ADHD or ADD. Has anyone heard those terms? ADHD, where a child has got those kind of hyperactive disorder, attention deficit disorder. Here they are over-drugging kids in schools. They say, oh, he's got ADHD, we have to put him under medication. But can you see the different issues this kid had, from physical, from a behavioral, from an emotional, from a spiritual? They all went there. With them demon-possessed from the church. The church was coming from that. Okay, so can you see the different platform where different people were labeling him with different names? Even counseling. And you will see people who are in positions, there's a lot of denial, a lot of pushed aside that. No, we can't let that we all hold big positions in the church or in the community or in the workspace as a public servant. And we seek for different solutions and different help. So what was the result at the end? He had a chemical imbalance, and this is one thing where no amount of village doctors, no amount of behavioral therapy, he had to be put on drugs. He had to be put on medication. there's a place for medication. So he was called all names from the kids, spoiled bread, even the school scheduled conferences to work out. And that's what happened in May here. In here, they have meetings over kids. Different services are involved. No, you mean no God. It just camouflages into the community. It just camouflages, which is a good thing too, because we've got that the social support, the community support. But there are some cases now you see with kids from drug-induced symptoms, and they have psychosis where they just lose the plot from taking too much drug. How do you help those people? So this is a classic story from the Western setup, or even probably in town cities, Mosby could have kids like that. But ADHD is the one thing that's, any kids that's firing up, who can't sit still, who's running around too much, causing havoc, pulling people's hair, breaking things, can't sit still. Parents don't have any energy to chase after him. Here they take them and they dose them up. But you might see behaviors like that, but it just blends in again to community, to other kids who just play naturally with kids. In one sense, that's good. But the other thing that I'm questioning is with those people who have sense, people who are taking drugs, where do we seek help for those? And I know there are kids in primary, and when we went later, they were saying in elementary schools, primary schools, kids are getting into cult or even to drugs. So you make a big blawog here, Lord, the church as a whole. So we just see Kevin's he's young. He's 30. So you can look at it, if you didn't have any of the knowledge, you would say, oh, something is really wrong. But out of all those people, the grandmother came up. Even the father who was educated, who was in medical practice. Why? Sometimes we put our job first. We don't have time for our children. And this is talking about pastors too. Your family time is your family time. All man come talking all this line time lumipla. But we always want to jump up because we want to be helping everyone. But this is where boundary issues comes in. Set boundaries. Pauline Tumbai come to respect that. And all time lolo sinda nakakaina story old family. So if you get that clear, I will respect him. Mipla Friday, be example. Friday mipla no stop. Suppose mipla stop, mipla no go plus blow ma blow bikini. Mipla stop. But mipla stop blow house and time blow mipla too. So suppose you got some we go looking chairperson law church. We have to do that, otherwise you as leaders, your hand is just piling up. Also, you're piling books on you and you can't. And maybe Thomas, you're a human too. You've got to look after yourselves. There's a lot there to go through, but what I want to do now, have you seen that role play? Because our time is going now. It's up. Have you seen the role play in your? There's three scenarios there, but there's one of a 15-year-old skipping classes and argues with the parents, and the teachers notice a drop in grades. The counselor meets with the adolescent with the child. Does anyone wants to role play that? One from Mosby and Lay, or one from Hagen and Mosby? I think I want to do some practical stuff, you know. The notes will always be there for you to read, or we'll go through them. But the main one that I've gone through was Erickson's. We're just targeting now on the adolescents. And I've shared a little bit of my own stories. So anyone feels that they can do a role play, or you don't have to follow this, you can create one. I'll observe, I'll be part of the audience to observe. Or you can do this one about the 15-year-old and the counselor's role, and the adolescent beginning his role is there too. Any two people want to volunteer to that? And we all we listening. Come on, you all. You blatting with him. Well, line must be lay you blatting with him. That can just give you a guideline, and you can create one. Pretend you're a teenager, you're an adolescent. Give us some remembering all your counseling skills, attentive, listening, reflective. Or you want to do it in groups, and in your own play, in your own sections too. Play must be, except Tony is by himself there. So it's the same approach, but toning it down to a kid's level. Let's say DHT there. That's how to counsel. I've put how to counsel parents too in there. Counseling adolescents, just coming to that. If you're doing that, build trust and rapport. Create a safe, non-judgmental space. If you're counseling a teenager, show genuine interest. And one of the things that they'll know is consistent. There has to be consistent and reliable. Adolescents notice when they notice that very quickly, they can tell. And you know, trying to get a teenager back, they'll switch off totally. So that's that trust. It's the trust and rapport that has to be there, number one. And then listening, encourage them to express their thoughts and feelings. Use reflective listening. It sounds like you feel that you're reflecting that feeling back. Avoid interrupting or immediately offering solutions. That's the one thing that I said earlier on when we started. No interruptions, hear it out. Don't run ahead with your solution. No, let him begin to talk past them. Understand their world. Explore their social environment, family situation, school pressures, and so forth. Recognize cultural, spiritual, and community influences. Because that kid is coming, like my own situation, I was coming from a culture that was
Hello.
full of this.
Tandy
Yes.
from Barnes.
Yeah.
Eugenia and me, Jairoto, we're gonna fade the role play.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I'll just go quickly through this when you're counseling adolescents. Okay, thank you. I'll give you that. Okay. Number 4, assess emotional and behavioral needs. Identify stresses. Why is stressing this kid out? You're coming from the family, you're coming from culture, you're coming to a learning situation where you've got kids from different cultures. If you're coming from a town school, lots of pressure, isn't it? And anxiety, depression, kids get depressed too. Anger, and a lot we get, anger is one emotion we take too easily because we want to show there's power control. We want to show everyone, I'm in control. Even kids do that. But you take anger away, they'll cry because they're hurting inside. Something's happening. But anger is a protective emotions that we play along with. Look for signs of self-harm, substance use. One of the things I was trying to do is do a cultural assessment tool for actually kids who are in different emotional, psychological, social, cultural. So you rule out anything from all those areas, because we used to do that with the Aborigines here. Had a cultural tool with kids. I worked with kids in primary schools, high schools, had groups for the girls to raise their self-esteem. A lot of kids lack that. Adolescence age group. Got them into activities. Some will withdraw. And you help them develop coping skills. Teach problem solving. How do you do that? You make him this law, how can you help? And you work with the kid too. The kid will give you some ideas. Encourage healthy outlets for stress. Sports, arts. What do they do at school? Who is his best friend? Who does he identify with? Has he got any role model that he looks up to at the school as a teacher? And 6, goal setting and decision making. Help adolescents set realistic short-term and long-term goals. What's your short-term goal? If you're going through this, how can we go over this, and what's the long-term? We'll work on this first to get you over this, and then we'll look at the long-term. Guide them in evaluating options. If this doesn't work, what can we fall back on? Give them options. Involve parents or carers or grandparents. Probably not the me like mama, papa, sabe or boo blow me. Maintain confidentiality, but involve caregivers for support and guidance. Educate parents. There's a lot of parents who don't know how to parent. I don't know. Now a lot of people are dumping their kids back with boo-boos in the villages or wherever they are. We actually I have got all the stuff for it, parenting programs for young parents who didn't know how to parent. In Australia, there are parenting programs, and especially within the Aboriginal community, parenting program, because a lot of people were removed. They didn't grow up with their parents. So recognize your limits too as counselors in having a pastoral role. You can go so far, so recognize that. Talking beginning by you talk lo counselor law school, all masabelo samblawelo helping you. He can help you, I can help you from position of law spiritual side, law culture, law side, law family. But law side, law samblamba, talk law school. You get the permission from that kid too. So there's a lot of stuff then. And then I've got how you would counsel parents also. But you may look past them law. This la role play law to playa. And those are when you're counseling an adolescent, so build that trust. You make him beginning I am feel I can talk to this auntie or that uncle. Listen. I think the main thing is listening and acknowledging, reflecting on those feelings of acknowledging that kid. Probably no one has acknowledged his own emotions. No one has ever stopped to do that. By you just doing that, it's a relief. At least someone is listening to me, Naim Sabe. Okay, so Jairoto and Eugenia, but you blamas comes in down low front there, because me have to Lena must be by look Sabe to blaya. So to bla low front bowl move the back side. You bla don't hold him. Because we can't see you at the back. Just move up a little bit so good. So everyone, you look as observers, look at those skills that you mitotokla, paraphrasing, summarizing, reflecting feelings, open questions, all those that are attentive non-behavior. Okay. Non-verbal cues.
Shall we start?
Yeah.
Hi, thanks for coming. I just want to listen to what's been going on with you lately. How have you been feeling at school?
I don't know. The school is boring and my parents are always on my back.
Sounds like you are feeling frustrated, both at school and at home.
Yeah, no one understands me. They just want me to study all the time.
I hear you. It feels like there is too much pressure. What do you wish your parents or teacher understood about you?
That I need some space. I can't be perfect all the time.
That makes sense. Everyone needs a balance. What's one small thing that might help you feel less pressured, but still keep up at school?
Maybe if my parents let me hang out with friends sometimes instead of always studying.
That's a good idea. Would you like us to think together about how to talk with your parents about this?
Yes, I guess.
Great. Let's come up with a plan you feel comfortable with. Uh, Sounds like you are feeling frustrated. I hear you are too much pressure and asking. So, so we will arrange our. I will arrange with your talk to your parents, and then we will talk to you later.
Thank you.
Thank you to Black. Thank you, Eugenia. Example, you Black think one name. So there's a lot of counseling skills shown there. Empathy, I hear you. Active listening, sounds like you're feeling frustrated. Encouraging self-expression, asking open questions there. Helping the teenage, suggest solutions. Encouraging the young person to talk with parents, so they've decided to talk to the parents. And a lot of the times, thank you, Eugenia, and a lot of the times parents need counseling too. That's where group counseling, whether separately or together. But normally the parents have their own issues that's impacting on the child also. Anyone has any comments to Toromo inside Lodisla? One thing I wanted to say, because I've counseled kids as young as 4 to high school kids, is that first impression. They'll pick you out the first time they even just see you without you even saying anything. So it's almost like you can't be any more outside yourself. But you try and make that authentic space. It's creating a safe space for them, feeling welcome. Probably that's never happened at home. Because a lot of us who are busy, you don't call your kids, hey, story past them. You are right, I may be feeling awesome. How many of us parents stop and do that? Or we just say, you're right as well. I'm all right, school all right. But it's so investing the time to talk to your child. Time whether they are legally beginning or primary school or high school, you play the same role with them. Where's Western? Is sitting at the back, or is moved back to the front? So what I would like to do, there's 3 scenarios to that, or what I just do. Go first through this, and then I'll get you back, because I want you to do more role plays if you want to do an adult, but for the time we're looking at children and adolescents, especially our we've named and see that a lot of issues comes out from the teenage. So this is how to counsel parents. It's different from the child, from the adolescent, is that you build trust and respect. Listen carefully again, it's listening to their concerns without judgment. Show empathy for the struggles they face. Some parents, yeah, because you love your child so much, you run out of energy, you run out of ideas. You feel like you failed them. So how can a counselor build them up, encourage them? Provide clear information. Explain the child's situation in simple and understandable terms if you've seen the child. If the child has been referred to you. Is Richard in today? No, he's not. Share how certain behaviors or problems develop and what can help. If you've been seeing the child, if you work with the teacher, then you have to bring in the parents. They probably don't know what their child is going through, so sometimes that information may be a shock to them. Encourage positive parenting skills. Yeah, you can switch that. You can teach them you can help them to be active listener, because a lot of us don't. We use selective hearing. You know what selective hearing? If they're talking and not important, but you know it could be important. But we have that selective hearing. How do you say something if it's making me turn around quick time and me sit down but if it's something, but it could be important for that child. Yeah, in terms of discipline too.
Okay, excuse me. Can I say something on the presentation that we have seen, the role play?
Yeah.
All counseling, there's a way to start. We need prayer first, and then ask the counselee, and then the counselor has to talk to her or him the full information or the story about what's happening, and give time to the counselee to express everything. And the questions will be proven question or open-ended question. It's not just yes or no answer to those proven questions or open-ended questions. The answers must be in details, whatever that he or she is feeling. Thank you for the role play, and so many times I've been in this kind of counseling time when people come to me or when I go to people and do counseling. Like what you have said last time in the beginning of this course, listening attentively to the counselee is very, very important. Give time to him to express everything that he's feeling or that he or she has. And then you start to paraphrase what he says to you as a counselor. That's after the counsel has been completed, there should be a prayer, and then both of them will depart to their own locations. Thank you. That's what I've observed.
Yeah. I mean, that's the norm, isn't it? You pray, start with a prayer, and close with a prayer. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. But I think I'm jumping to this so it'll give you the picture that some of this Counseling has to be that, so you have to know your role as counselors when you're counseling parents also. Because half of the time they don't know what their child, because the child sometimes doesn't open up to their parents. They'll tell someone else. So as Martha talk here, you had him good. That's the main thing. That's the core of counseling, is that active listening and not interrupting, not giving advice, but just hurrying past them. And then understanding that the person you're counseling will be encouraged to talk if he senses you are okay, that you are there, especially with teenagers. They'll know if there's no consistency in there. They'll know you're digressing to something else. They can switch off. Yeah. Yeah, so I
didn't complete my speech, little speech.
Sorry?
Adding on to what I have said,
Yeah.
I have to put my 2 legs into his shoes or her shoes. I have to get into the boat that is standing. When the time comes for the emotions, I will cry with him. I will also share my feelings with him too. And then coming to the end of the counseling process, I will touch, I will hold him, I will hug him and pray. Not just push him as not at a distance pray, no. He wants a touch from God. And that will be healed by strong, powerful prayer. Thank you.
Yeah. That's a privilege we have, we, as I say, we can go around in circles, but at the end of everything, there's always that reverence for a God that works in conjunction with what we want to do, that we are doing this for him to help others.
Doctor, I have a general comment here. This is not just a pastoral counseling, but it is also a psychological knowledge that we are learning.
Yes.
And such knowledge, I think for me, I haven't learned that for the last 30, 40 years. And just sitting down and understanding the way they react, and for me to counsel them, I think for me, understanding as I going through the class this morning, I began to understand a lot of things. And at the same time, for me, especially as a parent, I am repenting also for some of the things that I shouldn't have said it, but I said it. Now I begin to see the glimpse for my children to be, advanced in years. Then it is started off with once the child is still a hero. It begins from there. So like every children, they represent the lifestyle of the parents. The way they talk, it falls back to us, the parents. And I think this is a good time for us at least to admit, at least for us to say sorry, because it is the knowledge. People perish for the lack of knowledge. And like for me this morning, I began to realize that when we have a better understanding with knowledge, that's when we will have the solution, we will have the answer. And people will keep coming because we have the answer to give, to them. A lot of times, we build counsel out of assumptions, out of guessing because of, lack of knowledge. And for us here, I think this class, CLTC is very privileged to undergo, such course like pastoral counseling together with psychological knowledge. That's a rare knowledge for us, for me especially. And the challenge now is, if I graduate from CLTC and to go back, I have to allow that knowledge to walk with me in society, that that I will be walking. At least I have to provide such knowledge to people.
parents, especially today, like, we are lost. A lot of parents in the churches are lost today because they don't understand the beginning from the child. As the child is growing up, how can we mentor, how can we counsel them? And like a lot of times we fail. So what we need to do now, it's all about saying sorry, and then whatever little knowledge that we have, I think it's good to build them up again. And I believe with the grace of God, we can bring them to, to become better, children. So we are learning knowledge that is hidden for ages. For a long time. PNG will turn 50 years now. And now when we talk about violence, it is across the nation of Papua New Guinea. So many things are happening. Young people are traumatized. They're living with memories like as if there is no answer. But in a pastoral counseling, I believe we have the answer. And at the same time, one good thing is also that we have to know our limitation. Without knowledge, we cannot go beyond our limitation. With a good knowledge, I believe we can help the younger generation. So thank God for that knowledge that you, imparting to our class. I want to thank you.
You, Esther. Thank you. And a lot of parents don't know how to parent.
No,
We
they
just
don't.
take that.
So I think what we need to do, like for us going back, we need to have, like marriage, seminars. Because we have knowledge now. We are building our credibilities now. So when we talk, no one will question our integrity because we've learned that here in CLTC. And I know that they will listen to us. Yeah, they will listen because right now a lot of parents, they don't realize that, we are just destroying the future of our own children. And we seem to be blaming other people. We seem to be blaming peer groups. No. If we can, educate them in, for me, it's late now to understand such knowledge. I should have known that earlier on. But then it's not late. So long as, I still have the strength, I think I have to give the best in this, in this day and age. So everything falls back to us now. Yeah. But thank you so much, Doctor. It is an honor sitting down listening to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Esther. Yeah, for me, it's a commitment to, I see a big gap. So I go the extra 2 miles to just bring in what I can get to better equip you guys. Even some of the stuff that's probably just the longest slides, but they're all knowledge, they're all theories that you can fall back. Because you don't get this kind of training anywhere, I don't think, unless you go to UPenn and do psychology or, yeah. And just using my own life to it, because I have that passion that, because I want to help you guys. I want to send you away with skills, tools in your toolbox. And I thank you, Weston. I think I thank God for even my husband keeps saying that. It's multi-skilling, multitasking, that I have so much in terms of where I can pull from and even using my own knowledge for what we are doing today, relating back to PNG style. Even what Weston is saying, even my years when I moved on, I sat with my girls and say, I want to say sorry. That PNG side, they understood that was the mother that was being chased. Oh, yeah, I was out on a Milo place. I was a naughty girl, I think. So I climbing on mango tree was double up. Yeah, but my girls would say, Mom, but we know that. That was that village side, Loyu. So even if it's never late, you can prepare relationships. My girls are my friends. My children are my friends. Roland and I, we can talk about anything. They can come and talk, oh, Dad, we want to talk about this. Create those kind of culture where kids can come and talk to you about anything. Even your marriage relationship. Talk about anything. Many of us, we hide things of our past. You mean passive. We live in a relationship where your husband probably don't know something that you've done, but you don't want to embarrass yourself by doing that. No, God wants to redeem that too. For your relationship to be open. It could be a blockage in your. No, I've done that. We've done that. And it's typically hard from two cultures. But I made the stand to do that. Let's do that. God's want us to be free people. So we can pick up a book, talk about this chapter, we put it back on the shelf. Oh, you remember we spoke about this? So your relationship as husband and wives is friends. You are friends. You can talk about anything. You do things together. And you do that for your kids. Your home will always be the home where your children come and they'll always find food. They'll always find a cup of tea. They'll always find I'm a master. So planning something so sorry to give you so much knowledge. It was that big slides, it's all the theories. And you can look at that, you can read through it, even the Christian, 4 Christian gurus we looked at last week. And you pick and choose whatever, right? Oh, I understand this. But even these theories will help you map out, oh, now I understand. Now I've got this child. Now he's going to go into transition into his, am I ready for that? God's raised knowledge systems around us to equip us, making me aware. I mean, for me too, I'm doing this, but I'm skilling myself too to be able to help my boo-boos. Oh, now I understand why Alex is imagining. He's got this imaginative mind that just make up stories, and you just have to sit and laugh and listen with him. So you fit him into that gap. I said, so this is what he's talking about. So these people sat with kids to learn all this too. They live and study, like anthropologists lived in community to study stuff. Some people do that. They didn't just write out of the air. They wrote these theories from practical studies that they've done. But thank you, Weston. I think it touches us personally, those of you who are not married yet. But you have the role to nurture those nephews and nieces, or any kids, and if you're part of a church, as you were saying, and Naraplambarta talk, probably an area to Sunday school is there. But Sunday school can be a cop-out for just doing something short, easy go out, even setting up something in the church. You can revolutionize. You can be that radical person for Christ to do a lot of stuff differently. And others will say, hey, the church is passing because they've got this program, and this program, they've got this. So if you do that, God will honor that, and others will come to learn from your community. Be a model church. And if those model churches governed and ruled by the Holy Spirit, God will bring people to come and learn from you. Thank you.
Teddy, I think this is Eric. I think it is a privilege to me here because I should do that earlier. As a parent, I have missed all the point, and
And it's a challenge to me now. Now, our kids, especially myself, I should have learned them earlier. The Bible is number one book. I thought the Sunday school teachers or the elementary school teachers, they are the people who's going to train them. But that, when I hear from this topic, it is a challenge to me now. I have to maintain that. I have to say sorry to my kids because I have lost the privilege. I should have teach them earlier the Bible. The Bible is the core subject, or the number one subject that we should give them to the children when they are so young, very young, like 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, but we haven't. We have missed the point now. So what we are going to do is, I think we got to have to say sorry to them. It is our duty, but we have missed them. So big plus something, yeah, I think you may, for those of them in this class, for those of you who are not married or yet to marry, this is a privilege for you. But as our parents who are here, we have missed the point. So we need to, do something. When we do that, the society or the community where we come from, it's going to be impact. There should be impact through what we have learned, the parents or the kids. If there is no such people like we have produced in the home, from our homes, there won't be anything. There won't be any impact. There won't be any differences. So this is a privilege, and this is a challenge to me. Thank you.
Yeah, we as parents, we need to find that in our own hearts to say sorry to our children. Sometimes when they are big, it's very hard, but no blinded tears go. Because you love your kids, but it's no wrong with you. Your culture is conditioning you to that. You know that's the only way to discipline kids. But it's not, as I don't know if any of you have read Dobson's book. If you can bend the spirit, but don't break the spirit of a child, it's very hard to repair that. You can bend it, you can shape it, but I think because the thing is, we think they are our property. I think if we treat kids as gifts from God, from the word go, we take a different approach. Our perception is God-driven, I guess. But we're just human, so I'm not wrong with you, me. Because I said, like Simon by helping shape you, helping Narabla. And look out for those kids. Look out for the hurting. They won't display, but if you pick out the cues, you'll pick out which kids are hurting, or which teenager is hurting. So don't forget, when they're at primary school, they're still in community. When they go to high school, it's a mix. Kids from all get kind of. So thank you. So this is something where I feel for the parents, because I've gone through this, counseled not only parents, whole families, I'm talking about within Aboriginal communities, but even at home, someone, especially with the drug issues, or even talking to the whole church. Hey, any time I'm home, they say, asking Mama to come help me. Say, you got to talk to or just they just want anything. So God gives me the opportunities to share one time church. And those opportunities you will have to share one time with your own people. But start thinking of creating different activities in your church play. Be different. Be seen as different. Be radical in that sense. Do you want something that might work if I try this? Yeah. So it's support emotional needs. Parents, they go around with emotional bags, lots of it. Allow parents to express their worries, guilt, or frustration. This is still looking at strengthen parents-child relationships. Sometimes parent-child relationship doesn't exist. The child might be living with an auntie over there, just comes to have a cup of tea and go back. Does the parent have anything to do with him or her? Probably go and cut copra for me, or go and get a bunch of banana, or do a little bit of, but what's the emotional connection there? What ties me to that child? And encourage quality time together. Do we do that? Promote healthy communication between parents and children. We need to start creating that my child is my partner too. I remember my daughter was only 12 or 13. I'm going one time on all one black group here. Now we stayed up and I'm thinking, where is she? 2 o'clock all night, call the morning, 3 o'clock. But then Mr. One black no got phone. And I was worried. Then I'm kissing phone on our black friend blame ring. And she knew my mamba would be me instead there. I said, where are you? I said, I'm coming now to pick you up, so me go. But you know what she had in her head? Mom will have a stick in that car to stick me. And I did. We put in triplet stick. But me whip him instead. We go on our way, we hit the kangaroo. Man, and now me boil now. Call her house. Papa got tuck out in this lacrosse. And she said, Mom, aren't you gonna smack me? I looked at her, I said, no, my child. God has taken that stick away. And I will never forget that. That was like a tool for me. Anger is like a tool for you. It's either a bush knife or a hammer. You can either build or break. And that night, God took that away. Who is your neighbor? The question came to me. Who is your neighbor? Your neighbor is not across the fence. Your neighbor is your child. She lives with you. That's when God started to just show me lots of things. But I don't have to be there. And she talks about it, Mom, you did. I said, no. I said, God took that anger away. Even my youngest said, Mom, you're not that person. I said, I know. Because God. And those are the areas God wants to redeem in our lives. You may sit down, look cross. And I run workshops here on anger management. Oh, man. There's so many angry people in this world. But only God can do that. That's why parenting too, we have that safety net. God is our safety net. Jesus is our safety net. We can go around and run in circle. At the end of the day, God, give me direction, give me strength, give me the knowledge to do this better. Empower parents to make decisions that suit their family's context. And then you connect. How do you refer to parents? You connect them to different groups. Women's groups as fellowship. In the city, they probably have other things. There's different groups. Here, we connect them to different groups. But Lord bless you, I thinking yet. Yeah, it's walking alongside them with respect, encouragement, and guidance. Helping them to understand their child better. You're probably the bridge between them and their child. Because the things you've heard, they had never heard. Or your child might go and see a counselor somewhere else and tell them something else, or a psychologist or another doctor somewhere, and you will never know what's in your child's head until that relationship is the foundation. So then they understand their child better, strengthened family bonds, and equipping them with skills, even if they don't know how to. You show them the way through the scriptures too. How to handle challenges. I think it's through that relationship thing you talk with them, what has worked, how have you dealt with this, when did these problems started happening? And they might come up with their own history, which they've never talked about. So you are unraveling layers, generational layers of stuff. But your priority is those children. So our priority as a church is looking after our children, they'll be better leaders, church goers, church leaders. Nami looking to loyo miblalo you see United Church no got bloody man goloyo theological college now lo mibla. And I'm him to all question lo bless. How now I will say we have to raise those young leaders to be leaders for tomorrow. Only in the secular world, but within the church. So that's the parents. Then we went on to the kids. Does anyone want to add anything or say anything? Yeah.
Yeah. This is Jael. Yeah, me like sharing some experience, and this is with regards to all grown-up Pikinini. Like from my side, me adopting two big girls lo big sister blo me. What I'm trying to talk about is the behavioral pattern for the kids. Like boys, their character is different, or behavior laws are different lo all Mary. So the way to raise them up, it will be totally different. Me can talk. Because all Mary got passing blongol yet. Behavior blongol am different lo all pikinini man tam all grow up. And from my experience raising two girls is different from my two boys. Two plaligling mikisimol kam. So from that me looking all sama parenting skills. You me all parents. We have our ways to raise our kids. Now one time all these ways all get a display something stop lo hand blow you me yet. Like one of the point that me look him, as you have talked about too, meeting you touch him, one of the most important thing that parents should have all the time is a table discussion. That is where you may sit down lo round table, one time all pikinini, like what you have said, our kids should become our friends. And when we have table discussions, that's when all piginini ba out in bell belong all. And it should be done in a way in which you down in you yet become low level belong all. Yes, I'm talking from experience. And one of the thing with me looking lawyer with my two boys, maybe in pili mol semem strongly click, and then one plaka and wisdom em kissing me also. If they feel that they are strong to oppose me inside Lodisla area now, me no can baby me yet or me just give up long all. No, I'll have to find ways to help them. Because suppose me no fit lo help him all, that means me no care long all. And this plaka and ting been kissing me. So both of them are now all start lo teenage years blow all. One is 16 and the other one is 14. So inside Lodisla I've learned a lot. Though they are boys, Papa blow all me sa talking all you may all get all friends. So whatever you want to do or me plotting long and we can help you out. And I used to stress to them that the way I was brought up, it was in the hardest way. So me not like him you to apply experience in this kind hard way where me go through long and but I'm trying to help you to become good kids. But I'm happy with them. Me plus stop. Yes, and this point has only been like raise him, and one of the thing is me like stress him lo here. It's all about us, the parents. Everything begins with us. Suppose you mean okay lol, pikinini blow you mean look him all round loose namba auto. Sit down behind him like blong all na. You mean no advise him all lo timing blong all na disla. You me can bagarap him all. Because that's our first place to be trained as pastors. Blow church. Na family blow you me also. Church blow you me all church members. So that is where we can start helping our kids and then and by extending go along. All church members blow you me. I think this lot has only like help him lo. Stress him na help him me pla all papa mama me pla sit down lo here. And maybe every time in devotional, family devotional programs, we should help them take part. Maybe say a prayer. Now pray belong all we can match him age belong all. Not just 5 sentences or kind of say, 5 words in a sentence, but maybe help them help them to tell them they can say 2 to 3 sentences. Match him age belong all. And all this like training you can help him all too. Yeah. Thank you. I think this lot has all me like talk help him. You make class long him.
Thank you, Jael. Yeah, people everywhere. Also, me church, Mama, Papa, you me church. Those kids are
adding on to what we have discussed and discussing this time, I'll stretch more on how to communicate with the children is much needed. Last maybe 20 years plus, I have been working as a Sunday school teacher and a coordinator, and some of the teachers were under me, and I was trying to teach some of the lessons to how to handle the children's, especially children's, in the churches. And they found it hard, and I was trying to give some hints, but I need more knowledge to impact. And I really appreciate with Dr. Tandy. Now you give us some good imparted some new good lessons to us. And I thank you. And I'm trying to encourage some of the young students who are with us. That I would like to, me like Dr. No, straight more beginning and had so when I was becoming young in my life, I I really appreciate with my life because I always invited only beginning to come, sit down, talk to one time. So with my experiences, when I uh, get married, I mean, no something no. Straight mo beginning na kissing tintin na inviting mo no come sit down na time mo papa na mama I rebuke mo no abuse mo you confront mo and easy through no only come sit down one time me long have fellowship na you invite mo no come na kake na sharing money mo you one time mo na kake only igaton good na tintin no stop one time you and then start listening to you. So any helping all one time papa na mama blong by only can you go back again na start one time all beginning. Papa mama blong. Also na any good na something where by you make any go back again no church blow you may try na participate one time all beginning any good like we need to try and exercise now to stop one time on beginning and giving good tintin and giving encouragement the one time papa mama ipaji more now only 1 hour or something or so and good to much long young play can kissing only come inside and giving good tintin and by bringing one bell one time papa and mama too. Thank you, Haren.
Thank you. Yeah. I think you may all get that. We need to pray for God's forgiveness, God's direction. This I'm talking to us parents in God beginning. And for God to lead us in new ways, to help him all beginning now. Teenagers play me. That we are there to be a pair of ears. Yeah, and it says suicide talk, yeah. As I was saying to Loare Mary, I know parents, home is the best place. Suppose this understanding, sharing and communication now in my people something. Communication and boundary setting and allowing your own space with your own kids. And some me looking to me and passing me. We take extra kids, and I've heard this from kids because we talk Lord. They feel push out from their own spaces. So there's no discussion. Sometimes no discussion. One time all beginning, we are taking this many kids from our brother or from our sister. They feel confused too. I remember my niece always was writing to my daughter at the time. And I saw for the first time, man, beginning the same time here. Because my cousin sister kept taking kids from home and her own kids were left. This is probably one of the problems too, that we can neglect our own beginning and we spread too thinly to everyone else. Where's quality? Where's I'm opening my blood. This is going back 30 years, 40 years ago. And started making me think, and said it's so true. Our culture and our love, passing blue, me can go ahead, but at the same time, we're sacrificing our own space for our children to flourish under our roof as moms and dads. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just becoming aware of that and how you scale it. We don't become too selfish and so as kids have to be part of that. We need to do that. Like when I was trying to adopt my kids, we were in Samoa. I said to the girls, "Do you want the little brother? Because we don't have brothers. We have to sit and talk. So what will happen if this child comes and grows up here?" And they were so excited. I was ready to fly back home to pick up this Orlanius and his Ting Ting Blow. We were all disappointed. So involved decision making one time all beginning, doesn't matter how young they are. There are ways, awareness is important. My girls at the time were 7 and 9. And the oldest was here back at, we left her for a year at boarding school and said, no, 1 year is enough, we're going back. I'm not staying away from my daughter. So we were in Samoa for a year, 1 year. But we just think that kids don't have feelings and we ignore them. They have to be part of that. You think when I'm supposed to be walking most. And then you find that you nurture that space of checking with one another. Because a family is a family together. They all affect. One person does something, it affects the rest of the family. Supposedly thinking no, I'm still part of my family. I need to share with the fam what's happening here. So I think it's checking in with everyone else. Letting people know, this is what I'm thinking. What do you think we should do? Then people, that'll create a spirit of decision makings, confidence in kids that are actually doing that. Because it's coming out from the home. You're practicing it. So I must play single man married stop on the Milo class. 1, 2.
4 or 5.
Tim hand blow your blast was you single man, single man. Yeah. Probably this will put you in a place to don't just put them away. What I might try to do, because this is going on for 2 terms, I'm going to turn all this PowerPoint into a Word document so it's something you can read easily. And by right, you would guys.
Story that's all. From an experience that I encountered with some of the beginning Blom pastors. Reverend Longer, now they are working Tamil Golo College, all stuff going on. Couple of times when I went down to Mosby, I see them. I'll go drink, entertainment. And then one time he asked one mother, why are you, children doing that? I'll get up and I'll talk to me now. I'll talk to him. For a long time, people stop inside long. Religion, prison, and now people come out. I'll talk to him. So that, gave me a message. If holistically I cannot approach them the way that God wants me to approach them, then there is a danger out there. Them all stop all it now, they will live the life. So time you talk about psychologically, that's when it talks about when we understanding more along every areas of their life. And that will put us in a better position for us to groom them well. So time only go out now. Always saw how long, walk about. Planty also stop long. I'm also to me bless again, please me bless earlier. I'm also blessed to be blessed up in the house here. This is the serious thing that we looking long now. We walk along and encouraging plenty, all pastors, back in many. Even some of the reverends to me, those we don't try to, we teach them to become like us. They cannot become like us. We have to teach them to become like Christ. Only then am by your right. Samuel also na like for me, me Dr. I'm understanding the millennium this black horse now, I begin to see the difference. What it means to counsel them, just with the spirituality or not, losing thing long. Holistic, life, and by still all by God, and all by living kind life also yet. Because they want to experience life too. And if we cannot tell them the truth, nah, heavy by stop also me. So time also, me plus stop inside the prison, gonna block them out also. Okay. That me understanding you now. Me to me come look sawe. So yeah, these are some of the things. These are realities.
Yeah.
That is happening now. We really need to we need to build a human resource within the church. Because a church, it is a living organism. It is an entity that is different from any organization. So time to tolong everything of us, we have to have, educated people within the church. So that people can govern him good church in a way that God may like him long. So I'm really people need now long. Salim plant your young plakam causes now. But yet the church is saying that we don't have the money. And yet the church is dying. So we have a huge problem within the church. I don't know. How are we going to fix those issues? Time churches don't people not got money. No Salim mall, young plakam school. Like these are realities that, that is happening. Thank you.
Thank you, our Western. Yes, all get us. Big Blah area, yeah. And it's very close to our heart. And what I've given you today, that was the end of the conclusion bit there. Effective counseling for children requires addressing not only what is there, but the child's immediate problems, the broader family context. Because children's struggles are often rooted, affected by what's happening, the home dynamic, home situation. So parents should be quick to not only look at, but in parenting skills. If people are noticing that here, I do parenting skills workshop, I do anger management workshops, all kind. And I think from what Giles was saying, the buck stops with us, that phrase. Everything stops with us as parents, as a church. If you're starting to think and shift, because that's what I like to see, shift people's thinking. If I can move that way or that way, then I'm already shifting, allowing the Spirit of God to shift me more or to increase that awareness of how I can better. But the shifting has to happen within me. And what I'm hearing, a lot of us need to ask for repentance, for forgiveness from Papa God. He needs to redeem us as parents, as individuals, as Christians. Because we have to know ourselves within that. And even just referring back to Saul, Zechariah's sharing last week, he knew himself within that. He'd worked through that. He's moved on by the grace of God. And we have to know our positions within the church. We have to know our place in Christ. I have to know who I am within culture. So by working with both children and parents, counseling fosters emotional healing, strengthening. There's a sense of bonding, there's a sense of understanding. It's almost like a place for forgiveness and reconciliation that happens. When it comes to your own children, your whole world melts. You're an emotional bucket load of tears because you know you've been wronged too. You could have done it better, but you didn't know it. You didn't know any better. So I've gone through that. So at the end of the day, those little people will be leaders. They'll be adults running programs, running churches. So you sow the seed, it'll transform and multiply. Hey, thank you, True Olgeta. I think it's a very important stuff. But read through the theories. Our time is coming up to the end. But because what I could do, and I decide against that, is just write bullet points. But then how would you make the connections? So my theory for myself, I write so you can read it. Even my English husband would say, just write, put bullet points. You're talking to a different audience. You can teach it to the English folks. But these are my people. They need to understand. They have to read a bit more. So you can see from here, everything that I try to pack in so much. So this is the second part of the PowerPoint. But the first part, which was coming from the Introduction to Psychology and Counseling, is all the theory, the 100 and some slides. Read through that, and I'll go through week 8. We're in week 6, week 7. I might just go through an hour of that because that's important. We didn't touch on the moral issues and the faith that Fowler and the other guy would just look at Skinner for the crisis and identity within adolescence. So I might just spend an hour on that for next week, and we'll go into I'll leave midlife and anger and conflict and forgiveness. But really, we've got next week, which will be week 7 or week 8. What would you really like to cover? That's one thing. Students are not given the privilege. She said, can we look at something? Because we're just going by what I've said there. So week 8, because we are not doing any exams, week 9, exam week, we are not doing any exams, so we can just go right up to week 9. You are doing your exams, but week 8, we don't have to do any revision, because the main test exam will be after week 16, because it goes on for 2 terms, this class. So as you can see, the whole program is set for the 2 terms. And week 16 is reviewing the course and revision for the exams in week 16. So out of all what we've done, week 7, week 8, you come up with some ideas. What would you like to go over with all the stuff we've covered, something that you really want to? The other thing, there's a lot of stuff there, week 8, loneliness, abuse, suicide, identity issues, self-esteem. It's a lot of stuff that all of us go through also. Anyway, but I'll leave that with you. Otherwise, I'll go through some of the theories back next week and do some more role plays, exercises. Yeah. Bigla tingting bigla kita. It's new, it's challenging, it's close to our hearts, our children and our young people. And it's the thing we keep throwing to the church. But who's helping the church? Who are the resource people there? And this is where you are all feeling, and I hear from Western. We need to train the church. We need to situate simply excited within the church on different things. Let me stop lawyer now. So think about it, because we're not doing the exam. You want to go through some things that you or raise a question for discussion, we can do that. But next week is week 7. After that, we might look at some anger management stuff, if you guys want to do that. But I'll be looking at anger and conflict and forgiveness. Some interpersonal issues that comes from us. We've been looking at developmental issues, especially with children and adolescents. Okay, but me stop lo here. Sorry, me kisim you blalo kan Adriana kisim sabe lo line yan ayun kisim sabe go lo melanesianize all this like kind of thing. But a lot of this comes from us. We set the tone in our homes, our relationship with our children. Thank you, Olgeta. Unless anyone wants to say anything, I close to you, man. Let me bait. Thank you, everyone, for your contributions. For those who are supporting us, even though you don't speak, you are still part of the group. Thank you, Olgeta. So suppose no ga talk ba mi baitan ya yubla. Okay, suppose no ga mi baitan now.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Matthias. Yeti, Mosby. Thank you, Lole. Okay, Mosby Nale Bans. Okay, Bami Baitan. Thank you, Papa God. Thank you, Lord. Guru Mania, Kisim Sabe, Lord, Thiri Blol. Mibla now, put in cultural perspective, Lo Mibla. How Mibla look him, how you look him, Papa God, in Jesus' name. Help us to be better parents. Help us to be better facilitators of all these ideas to Lo, where we are, where we will be going back to. Thank you again, Lolan Lol Lay, na Mosby, na Bans. Miko Meti Molgeta go Lohan play you, Papa God. In Jesus' name, that you keep on shaping and molding us and to the kind of people you want us to be. In Jesus' name, amen.
Yes.
Thank you, Olgeta.
Thank you.
Yo, Boina.
Doctor, me Eric,
Okay.
me sorry, machine blow me good so na one plan na reply was me step out lig lo sambla issues lo fees blow me na me step out na me salimol me titin lo salimol assignment blow me hasta mi melikam long